So, how does it feel to finally have arrived? You know, the promised utopia every generation throughout history has promised. Here in the 21st century, we have achieved the ultimate utopia. How do you like it so far? Huh? How's it working out? You've even built their capital, your throne of thrones, being Beijing in China, with your ruling elite CCP. How does it feel to be in your utopia? How's it working out so far for everybody? Is it all that was promised to you in this wonderful service-based economy? How are the glories of the digital realm treating you in its infinite inspiration, its infinite omniscience, and its godlike control over your lives? Is it all that you hope for? Because I hope it is. Because this is as good as it gets. This is as good as Neo-Babel gets. This is the peak of your human civilization. So, as everybody worships at the altar of our glory, worships at the altar of mammon, worships at the altar of our own avarice and hubris, may it be all that you hoped it would be, because this is as good as it gets. Now, what am I going on about? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going on about. What I'm going on about is that this is the world that was imagined for you by the elite in government, in the private sector, by the elite around the world, and here in America. This is it. Can you feel the love in the room? I mean, is it not more peaceful and secure, more unified, more loving? I mean, all you had to do was obliterate the notion of truth and love and justice and mercy and replace it with your subjective, corrupted versions to reach this pinnacle of success that we now are all enjoying with all of its bounty. Now, of course, I'm mocking the whole damn thing. And I'm mocking it because at some point you have to realize that everything that has been promised, everything that we're dealing with, is a sham. It's empty promises. It's been co-opted. So you're living in a synthetic world that is getting more confused, more fearful, and more fake by the moment. How do you like it? I mean, after all, you may even one day make enough money to buy your own flying car or ride in an autonomous drone. Now, as exciting as that may be, look at the world as it really is. All right? Now, I am a dreamer and an innovator, and I think about the future ever since I was born. But I can tell you what, you can't build a future that has any legs to stand on for any period of time on a corrupt foundation, and that is exactly what you have done as a global civilization. So being that that is what has been sown, what do you think the fruit of it is so far? How do you like it? What is it showing you? What are you learning about it? How does it feel to live underneath the gaze of the Dragon Imperium? How does it feel to know that you are overwatched by all of your devices 24/7 and nothing actually really is secure for you? How does it feel to know that you live in a completely fake reality? And what comes in a completely fake reality is fake leaders, fake news, fake information, and a complete breakdown cognitively of the nature of reality as it truly is. You see, what has been being built is hell. You're building hell. So how do you like it so far? Is it everything you hoped it'd be? Now, when you think about how we arrived here because of the hopes and dreams of people being misappropriated, misapplied, and misused to mislead them by those who have ruled over them. You see, they don't see you as capable of playing a role in your own decision making and your own lives. They would rather you be divided and fighting one another and enslaved to lies, corruption, addictions, your own stupidity, than to be aware of what you actually live in and how it's actually destroying you. So they keep feeding you yourselves through these systems and projecting themselves over the top of it upon you. That's why it's called public perception and perception shaping. It is how you are kept in line by the domination system that rules over you and keeps you in fear and confusion. It is an ever-present drama that is ever unfolding in front of your very eyes, on your screens, on your devices, and in reality around you, as the fake, authentic, and the blurring of the two make it nearly impossible for anybody to be able to tell what's actually really real. You see, if they can blow out your concept of reality, they can replace it with their own and install it in your thinking and your thinking will guide your doing. That's called enslavement. And the process by which they engage in that is warfare. You're in cognitive warfare. You're in a type of war that you don't see, you don't comprehend, and it's always ever present around you. It's always affecting you. It's what the great writers like Orwell and Huxley, and the list goes on, wrote about to give you examples of what to look for as a warning to you. So you live in a reality that is artificial. That does not mean that there isn't a real reality. That's not. It just means that you're diverted from it to the shadow of the real. And the shadow of the real then enslaves you and projects its intentions upon you, its demands upon you. It projects its imperatives upon you and forces you into complicity to itself. It is a deception. It brings about lies. It is designed to make you a slave, but to make you think while you're a slave that you're free when you're not. It operates here with a binary simulacrum, and it attacks you from the extreme binaries on either side to keep you from a true middle, and to use you as proxies to keep a true middle from rising up and exposing it and uprooting it so that you can get truly free from it. It uses everybody as a food source and has to deceive everybody into becoming complicit to it because it's too arrogant to admit that the true addictive personality, the true addictive thing at work here is the shadow itself, the lie. You see, the shadow, the lie, the domination system cannot exist without you giving it power. And it refuses to admit that it needs you to exist. So it deceives you into handing over your power to it. That's why I tell you that you live in a mirage in this world. You live in a world where people's minds have been darkened. They have been made slaves to a lie. But they have been so enamored by what they think is freedom when it is actually enslavement. Truth when they call it a lie. And exchanging the truth for a lie, calling the lie the truth and the truth a lie. It is an inversion of everything that is real. Essentially, what you have been offered is a photographic negative of reality. And they want to force you into complicity with it. That's the nature of a domination system. That's the nature of tyranny and autocracy. But they have to give you something to hook you, right? Like any good drug dealer, they've got to get you hooked. And once you're hooked, you're addicted to it and you're a slave, just like they are. And then everybody lives in this complicity, right? They live complicit with a false social contract that has replaced the authentic one, and an authentic enslavement of them, which they cannot understand nor comprehend because they're blinded to it. This is your this is your utopia. This is your utopia. How do you like it? Yeah? You love it? Yeah, it's clever, isn't it? So, everything that you do is now data to be bought and sold, to feed back to you your perfect version of subjective utopia, to keep you in the shadows of the real. And it demands that if you were to have those shadows of the real that you become addicted to under its tyranny, you have to then become proxies for it to fight against anything that might expose it. Thus, you become human shields. Now, this is a very interesting thing because this is a pattern throughout all of history. With autocratic, tyrannical, evil leadership using their people as a shield so that they can continue to live their delusional realities out. And they sacrifice their people on their behalf on the altar of their own pride and arrogance, avarice and hubris. This is essentially what Emperor Xi Jinping came out and said on the 100-year birthday of the CCP a few days ago. You have to look at the language and you have to understand what's actually being said in the context of the man, the party, and the nation's actual history. You see, they offer you a counterfeit, a lie, and they've ensnared very, very many people, leaders. But it does not change the fact they are a corrupt, lawless, inauthentic, deceptive, cunning lie. All that glitters is not gold, and all that shines is not the light of the truth. But it is tempting, is it not? The offer of heading to the mysterious Far East and getting your wealth, finding your fortune, becoming enlightened, when in reality, all of it is a sham, a lie, a trap. And instead, you become a slave. And then you do its bidding. You even sacrifice your own peoples, tribes, tongues, and nations to it, because you are enslaved to a lie and fearful of what would happen to you if you exposed yourself to others and they knew that you are a slave to a lie. And as the consequences scale upwards, the weight, the shame, the guilt, that you keep pushing down gets harder to push down and keeps coming back with more power behind it, with more weight upon you each and every time. You see, what's happening is you're facing the real thing, and the real thing will always expose that which is not authentic. The real thing is the real truth, and the truth exposes what was hidden in the darkness that is corrupt, that is a counterfeit, that is a lie. So if you would like to come out of the shadows into the light of day, now is your time to do that. Because what the lie will tell you is that if you do that, you'll pay the consequences. No, if you do that, you'll pay less consequences than the voice in your head is telling you. Because the voice in your head is the one that is going to pay the greatest consequences. Because those who put it there by lying to you and manipulating you into deceptive ways and making you a proxy and a slave to their lies are the ones that are truly afraid of being exposed. They're just using you as a human shield to do their bidding. But they wrap it up in noble language. They have given you so many promises: wealth, power, influence, long life, freedom to be able to indulge every single thing that you would like to do that you didn't think that you could do here in your own country or other countries because of restraints upon you. Do you want to be a human shield to a lie? Because it is eating you alive. And it ultimately, if you do not come out of the shadows into the light of day, the light of day will expose you along with what is with you, holding you in itself in the shadows, and bring you both into accountability as you pay the consequences for it. But you'll pay the consequences for them long before, in their strategy, long before they do. They will sacrifice you quickly. So you see how this works? That's why it's deception. That's why it's a false peace. And a lie always gives you a false peace and a false sense of security. That's why I can tell you that the CCP and China in general, the PLA, and Emperor Xi Jinping are in a delusion, because I see through it. They're trying to convince you how strong they are, that if you push back there will be consequences. Well, guess what? Their consequences are eternal and infinite. It's better to pay a short-term cost than one that you could never pay, and you'll spend eternity having to try. It is better to have a clean conscience, a sense of having done something truly noble in your lives, than remaining in the shadow, in a lie, being a slave and a human shield to the very things and the very ones that are using you and turning you into the very thing that you hate and convincing you that you love it. But what you really are is you're being devoured and destroyed. So consider that. Consider what I'm telling you. When you think about this in true terms, everything here has a cost. Count the costs. Do you love your pride and the lie more than your own mortal flesh and soul. Can you honestly say that you're prepared to not only lose everything in forevermore, but in the present now, holding on to your pride, onto your lies, serving something that's only using you and abusing you, devouring you, and ultimately will destroy you, using you as something to protect itself as it's doing it? It's going to take everything from you, because ultimately it is a thief. It is a destroyer. It is a liar. And the wages that it ultimately pays out to you is death. And you know why it devours you and ultimately will serve you up? Because you are keeping it going, because you have ceded who and what you are and what you're capable of being to the shadow of yourself. The shadow of what can be and could be and will be, but whether you're a part of it or not depends upon what your choices are in the here and now. So you can choose the real thing and gain so much more than you can ever possibly imagine, even on your most grandiose day. Or you can remain in the photographic negative, in the shadow of the real thing, and pay the ultimate cost, not only in the temporal, but in the infinite eternal. That is your predicament, be it an individual or be it a nation state. As it is for people, so too it is for nations. There's a reason why I keep telling you that. There's a reason why it is I keep warning you that if you continue to go down the path of lies, you will pay a consequence that is so beyond anything that you have gained or think you could gain from short term. I would not be telling you, I have no reason to tell you this for personal gain. I'm not trying to make money off of you. I'm not trying to be elected by you. I don't even know most of you. Why would I even tell you these things? To try to con you when I have nothing to gain by it. But what you should ask yourself is that all that you've gained and been promised that you would gain by serving a lie, what do you think it's going to demand of you? Servitude, enslavement, and it's going to make you a soldier, or already has, a proxy, right, to protect the very ones that are destroying you. So when you are ready to change your predicament, you are welcome anytime to walk out of the prison, the virtual prison of your shadow and the lies there within, and be freed by the truth from your lies and the lies of others, and be amazed at how quickly things can turn around. And when they do, if you choose rightly, you'll see that all the fear and confusion that you're now in dissipate like mist in the noonday sun. And everything that you thought you wanted, you will find most of it you were accepting was but the mist of the real thing, but the shadow of the real thing. And then you'll be in a position to actually have the real thing. But you have to make that choice. You cannot live in a lie and expect to pay no consequences. And that bill scales exponentially every single day. You remain in it. So consider what I'm telling you. Personally, and in terms of the times that you live in, the world that you live in. Think about your loved ones. Think about the future. What if there is more than the temporary? What if there is much more and you don't even see that you may already be in it? In fact, the shadow of it. Now consider that. If you're choosing the shadow of that, you're choosing a lie, a counterfeit of it. That means you're an idiot. You're a fool. What fool would rather spend their entire lives and everything they do in it trying to amass the shadow of something that's real instead of the real thing? When they will lose all of it when they breathe their last breath. Thusly, they live in even greater fear of their own death. Now consider that in terms of China. As it is for people, so too it is for the nations.
Come vê-me assim, mogla, mexer.